Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Grim Dawn. We find ourselves on the Plains of Strife, about to enter Chthonic Rift. This, of course, is going to be the Forsaken Wastes, the warm-up to the Obsidian throne. Inside of these Forsaken Wastes, we will be looking for the spirit of Mogdrogen. Someone has been hiding booze around here, and of course, we want to find it. That's it. Let's focus on staying alive first, spirits second. Just not standing in any kind of scary ritual circles is probably gonna help quite a bit there. Of course, the enemies here are gonna be of a decent level. We are 67, the standard mobs are 67 or are 70 here, and that's only gonna get worse. We are busy leveling up military conditioning, so points into it, and it actually takes us over 1200. That's nice. Or 12,000 life, I should say, not 1200. That's off by a factor of 10. Obsidian Ravager. So this is gonna be the true test for just how much damage we can tank versus these guys. Well, you got the Ravagers, you got the Shellborn, there's a couple of other nasty mobs in there. The larger our health pool, the more we can tank in terms of just absolute damage that gets dealt to us. Our resists are in a pretty decent spot. So overall, we are already reducing damage by quite a bit. There are, of course, the odd exceptions. Our ether damage, our ether resist is a bit on the low end, but in here, ether is not really that much of an issue. Also, that is an invisible blocked area. Our chaos is at 60%, and our cold resistance is near 60%. Those are on the lower end, and our piercing is also at 66. Everything else is 70 or more. On the other hand, we have plenty of defenses. Well, things like Blast Shield, Menhir's Will, Turtle Shell. All of those trigger at certain points when we drop below certain amounts of life. And they're either going to give us a damage shield, which of course just gives us more time to regenerate our life while the damage shield absorbs incoming damage, or it's going to straight up heal us, or a combination of all of the effects. In addition to that, we have a pretty strong background health regen going on. We've got Overguard, which is really good at boosting that. And of course, we are blocking more than half of the attacks. And Overguard increases the amount of damage that we block with each block as well. Okay. At some point we should see a marking on the map to indicate where the Rowari Legacy quest item is. So until then, tracing the outlines of the map usually feels like a pretty good idea. That's also if you want to get out of this place, you always have to find a portal somewhere near the exit. So if you've cleared the edges, then on your way out you can simply just follow the edges until you get to one of the portals that you've previously cleared. They don't show up on the map, and my memory is usually pretty poor in remembering where those things are, especially because they are not static. So the rule of thumb of just sticking to the edges, because the portals are always going to be on an edge, that's good enough to get you out. No portal here. And of course, after we trace the outlines, if you still haven't found it, then the inner bit to trace is just going to be smaller. Most of the mobs being 69 and 70 makes me feel like 70 is a bit of a soft cap for the top level of mobs in Elite. Because it's pretty rare when you see mobs that are higher level than that. There's a level 74 over there, of course, just proving that there are indeed exceptions. 71, that's still pretty potent. Also, let's just not stand in those ground effects, shall we? So there's enough hard-hitting foes here that I'm not particularly keen to blitz into the middle of them. If they were a pack of regular zombies or things like that, then sure, this case. Let's keep blitz as something that we could potentially use to extract ourselves from the fight rather than to get in the fight. Yeah, that kind of breaks a little bit with tradition. Most of the time I use blitz as an offensive tool rather than as a defensive tool. But these chthonic rifts, just be careful. Now all we have left is the boss and ourselves. And then things are pretty manageable. You just got a obsidian cluster behind him. Okay. And then we got him. Cool. So this boss was 7 levels higher than us. Chances are that inside of the Obsidian throne we might even be seeing level 75 mobs. Or at least some of the bosses there. Also, that was a pretty nasty spike of damage that was dealt to us. Makes me wonder, if you're not playing a tank, how much life would you have by this point? And what kind of life would be considered sane? Because I think I got hit for about 4,000 damage there. No, and getting bursted for 6,000 or 7,000 points of damage is not uncommon either. And there we have the spirit, that's good. So let's loot that one. Good. Mission accomplished. Well, part 1, of course. We still have the Obsidian throne to get to, but I know the Obsidian throne is always going to be somewhere to the north. Has its own sub-portal. It's the Rowari Legacy, that was the wildcard here. Okay, let's overguard here, because I'm getting a little claustrophobic with all of these really big demons around. So there was a 73 in here. Not more. Not anymore. Okay. Are these actually worth it? Or not really? 41% chaos resistance is really potent. On the other hand, only has a 32% chance to block, while our current shield has 43%. That is a pretty gnarly trade-off. Also, yes, you could fit in with the quest items. Cool. Let's push forward. Let's go towards the Obsidian throne. Let's see. Was the entrance via the left side here? Yeah, exactly. So at least we have all the ingredients required now to restore the Shrine of Morgdrug, and that gets us another devotion point, gets us another point closer to completing the obelisk. Well, at least getting the active ability. It's not completing it, but it's getting the active ability. And that's the thing I most care about here. Obsidian Throne. There are quite some unique demons in here. They are pretty darn scary as well. At least I remember them as scary from some of my earlier characters. Of course, this is my tankiest character so far. should be the one that is best equipped to deal with them. But of course, I'm not quite sure how scary they are gonna be on Elite compared to Veteran mode. But we shall see. It's always better to overestimate how strong your opponents are gonna be than to underestimate them. Because if you overestimate them, then at worst, you're gonna end the fight feeling like, huh, that was actually not as bad as I'd expected it to be. If you underestimate them, then it's probably gonna end more like, wait, what just happened? And then you're gone. Okay, there is a hero in here. It's a heroic caster.
That skill's not ready.
Ooh, there's some skill interruption going on. Okay. This is actually rather manageable once we get the supporter numbers down.
Do that yet.
She's messing with our active skills here and the degen. Ugh. Okay, actually I drank a health potion there. Combination of those toxic clouds as well as just all the stuff around that's just trying to punch me too much. It hurts. Ooh, exalted stash. Nice. Empowered blade dancers, handguards. Let's have a look at it. Once we kill this dude. Or do that, or thingamajig. Not quite sure what your official title is here. Plus 33 melee fizz, pierce damage, some cunning, physical resistance, elemental resistance, plus 2 to Zolhan's technique. I think that's the one we just gave up, of course. Plus 1 to Amarista's quick cut. So this is a Nightblade soldier crossover with a focus on triggered attacks. Revenge, 20% chance when hit by melee attacks. Swift jab with your weapon. Requires a melee weapon. 1 second skill recharge, 85% main hand damage. So that's just a quick jab back at whatever actually hit you as a defensive trigger. This is a pretty decent one. I think if we didn't have a legendary, then this would have been a pretty easy pick. Because it has resist, it has an offensive damage bonuses, and it has a triggered skill. Well, for now, not quite what we're looking after, because it is a downgrade from our legendary. Okay, Void Parasites. Lots of vitality damage coming in, but I think we are nearly maxed out on vitality res. That actually makes these a lot easier to deal with. Bleeding damage, that's also a resistance type that we are maxed out against. This is Mark of Pain. Is that something that messes with our regen? It's all these debuffs that you can get. It's oftentimes, well, in the earlier part of the game, they don't really show up all that much. And most of the time enemies don't live long enough to actually apply them, or it just doesn't matter enough to actually make it matter. But this one, it saps your strength, so it doesn't reduce my resistance, because there are also debuffs that reduce resistances. But if it messes with my regen, of course my regen is one of the primary ways that I'm staying alive here. That would actually explain why things feel a lot more powerful than they are. If my regen is gone, then suddenly I'm not restoring 350 to 500 health per second. And effectively that's just virtual DPS that the enemies can add on top of their own DPS. And then they suddenly become a bit more threatening. There is from something, big void leech. Okay, something's trying to throw meteors on top of my head. Oh, rule 1 of Grim Dawn. If something tries to throw a meteor on your head, Try not to be where the meteor is gonna land. Very good for your health to not be there. It probably sits somewhere along the lines of don't stand in any kind of clouds, because clouds hurt. They're not nice fluffy clouds. So far so good. If memory serves me correctly, true nasty boss is gonna be basically 2 rooms below here. Okay, lots of regular add-ons, just the vilers and stuff. Okay. Did I walk around him? Might have. Okay. Oh, more enemies we can take out before we face the boss. The less add-ons we're gonna have in the fight, and the better we're generally going to be off afterwards. Because oftentimes now the bosses, they are balanced in a way that if you have a decent sustain tank on your build, then defeating the boss is simply going to be an inevitability. But if they also have add-ons, then suddenly a decent fight, a doable fight, is going to be shifted heavily into the direction of holy hell, what a lot of damage are they doing. But I have to say, these demons, we are dealing with them in a pretty quick fashion. Also, I think we did trace the outlines, but no nasty, gnarly fights. Could be that I'm just remembering the fight on the eastern side where the Void Leech boss was as gnarly, because one of my first times I went in here, I had a fight that I think it was with my Conjurer back in beta 27 or so, when Conjurers were really lousy actually. And that was a very unhappy encounter. Let's keep it at that, because I just couldn't kill him, and he just ignored my pets, went straight for me. That's when no Conjurer builds had even less taunting capabilities than they had now. And I just kept getting murdered and murdered and murdered. But it was just a random heroic rather than the end boss, because this is the actual quest-driven end boss, Bane Gargoth. Once we defeat him, then our buddies at Chimera's Chosen are going to be very happy about that. But as I said, the boss fights themselves are usually not the things that are going to kill you, it's the add-ons in the fights that are going to kill you. But of course my bias is always toward the more tanky side of things, the more... I really like life regeneration in Grim Dawn. So from that perspective, oftentimes my life regeneration is just higher than the effective DPS that enemies do. And no, if you're regenerating the health faster than enemies can inflict the damage upon you, then winning is inevitable. The only caveat there is, of course, if your health pool is not large enough to sustain the burst damage that the enemy can put out, then you have a problem as well. Well, that's no, the Commando is probably only second to the Warder, the Salty Shaman, in terms of just being able to tank things. Okay, so we have a couple questies to complete now. Desecrated Shrine over there. So we're gonna go back to the Astacon Valley. And then just blitz through here. Ooh, unique grubble. Or not a unique, heroic. Different words, same intention. Because of course uniques in most games are not truly unique. Blood Letters Exalted Visage. He cast a helm. Okay, then there should be a couple cultists in here, yep, that we can use to blitz in. Ooh, Ignatius the Burning. Also, the Sprayer of Loot. Well, his buddies are. It's not even the boss. So, just get that out of the way. Let's not stand inside of the circle that has a pentagram in it. That usually means it's not good for your health. And there we are. We got some devil touched ammo. Ruin Shrine. We have the two pieces. The two pieces for the quest. We have a ancient heart. We offer them. We get a bunch of things out of it. Oh, also demons and a devotion point. But yeah. Nice thing about a retaliation build is, of course, that even if you get mobbed, most of the time they will just simply kill themselves. Oh, yeah, unique. Ooh, a Dread Skull. I think I needed that Dread Skull to get the Dread Skull completed, because I only had a partial Dread Skull for the legendary helmet that I found the recipe for last episode. Okay, so now we have a devotion point. So that takes us to the... Wait. Oh. Yay. Now we have it. Mark of Reeks, Bow of Threads, some Rover's Reputation, and our skill point. Yeah, you can challenge the avatar of Mog Dragon, but I'm really kind. I have no beef with the avatar. Wait. There's no connection in the middle. The connection goes via the outside. I thought it went from bottom to top to side, but it actually goes via the side. Ooh, that throws a little bit of a spanner for wrench into the whatever. It makes things more difficult, because I actually wanted stone form before the Logorian. Now the thing is, we're gonna not get it until after. Unless we do the Bastion of Chaos entrance first. Have to be a little bit creative here. We'll see. So then all that's left for now is to go back to Father Kaiman in Sorrow's Bastion and get our next quest from him. So how far are we with Kaiman's Chosen? Yeah, we still need a lot of XP. 10,000. That's probably gonna get us 1,000 this one. Exactly, 1,000. Empowered Slime Bolter. Yeah. What is your will? I will be on it. I will recover the relic. The Eye of Korvac. That means we have to go to the tomb of Korvac. Okay, so the tomb of Korvac is actually located near the Astrakhan Valley waypoint. It's actually, we walked by it a couple times. It's just gonna be a side quest. There's not gonna be a devotion shrine there. So that's gonna be slightly unfortunate, but well, at least we have something to do. So, as I said, we just have to slightly rethink how we are going to do things, because we still have a devotion point left in the Black Sepulchre. That's gonna be over to the side here. It's a bit over there. It's in the necropolis itself, to the right hand side, all the way to the top right corner. That's where the Black Sepulchre is gonna be. Then, if we walk all the way around to the Bastion of Chaos, there's a bridge here that we can fix, and I think we can actually just dive into the Bastion of Chaos itself and tag the shrine there. But I'm not entirely sure if we can do that before or after we face down the Loghorian. But I think that is something that I want to try, because I would like to have the stone form before the fight. No, the extra armor absorption, some extra resistances, things like that, and especially the reduction in poison and bleeding duration. They might be useful. And of course, boosting retaliation damage is always nice. Oh, it also means we will not be getting the extra stun and freeze duration reductions before this. Or will it be easy to get the block chance? So we actually will have to invest quite some effort into completing this one rather than picking out the juicy one. So the devs did it actually rather nicely, that there is no center connection, because that would have been the easiest of solutions. But well, gives me something to do for now. But for now, we have managed to complete a couple of quests. Of course, we now have the Tomb of Korvac, so that's going to be a logical first step to do. After that, it's going to be to secure the next waypoint over there, go into the Black Sepulchre, get ourselves a devotion point. It's going to be 1 or 2 episodes, depending on how long things take. And we're going to see if we can dip our toes into the Bastion of Chaos just to get the devotion point. If not, then we'll just have to face the Loghorian without having a shiny new effect. But oh well, we can't always have all the things. But for now, I'm gonna thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.